Hello, I'm Pete Torriello,
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
and it's time again for the Sonic Boomers. Program number 80, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. And we're talking this week about what was must-see TV in our families growing up as baby boomers.
I remember a few years ago, whatever station it was,
NBC.
NBC had must-see TV. And
Thursday night.
It was like Seinfeld and Friends and Frasier?
Might have been Frasier.
I forget, but it was like blockbuster hits that everybody was tuned into, and one after the other after the other.
Yeah, it really was must-see TV.
Your whole night
Revolved
was
on
blocked
these
out
shows.
for these shows.
Yeah.
So we got talking about our childhood and what
the grown-ups used to watch.
Right, I guess that's basically
And we
it, yeah.
usually got sucked into to watching it with them.
Well, I was sent to bed, so a little different.
What were your family watching? X-rated movies or something that they sent
No,
you? They sent you to
but-
bed.
But our experience is a little bit different because there were very few shows that we watched either religiously and regularly,
Yeah.
and B, that we all watched. You know, there were certain things that my father liked, some things that I don't remember my mother really watching it at all, and things that us kids would watch. And sometimes they merged together and sometimes they didn't. You know, we didn't have a night where we were like, oh, I have to sit down and watch this show.
Yeah.
But you did.
Sunday night, I can recall there were three shows on Sunday evenings that if a TV was on in the Torriello house, this is what it was on. And in the early evening, it would be on Ted Mack's Amateur Hour, which was on Channel 2, it's on CBS. And then right after the Amateur Hour, I think was Ed Sullivan.
I thought it was Walt Disney.
No, that was NBC. Walt Disney was an NBC show, The Wonderful World of Color.
Okay.
But Ed Sullivan was on CBS on Sunday night. And we were talking the other day in the car. You couldn't do a show like Ed Sullivan today.
No.
I don't think I think that those damn younger people would find it corny.
I think us older people would find it corny too, frankly.
I don't know. I mean, where else could you see the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five, Robert Merrill singing opera, a guy spinning plates on sticks, Topo Gigio, remember the little
Italian
Eddie,
mouse?
kiss me goodnight.
No,
And that was Topo
Gigio.
Gigio,
No.
the little mouse.
Mouse, yeah,
Yeah. And Senor Fuentes,
right.
the ventriloquist who used to do the thing with his hand. He would paint his
face on-
hand, a face, and he'd move his thumb up and down like this. And it would be, easy for you, difficult for me. And he had the head
Right.
in a box. And he'd be like, it's all right? It's all right. And
Yeah,
you
right,
remember
right.
that was Senor Fuentes. And he would do stuff like he would puff on a cigarette while he was doing a voice.
Yeah, yeah,
Or he would drink a glass of water
Yeah.
while he was doing a voice.
yeah.
And
Just to show you how good he was.
yeah, and he spun
And
plates,
plates too.
which I didn't know that came up on Jeopardy the other night.
Yes.
They asked about who was the ventriloquist who spun plates. And they said Senor Fuentes. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, he did not. And I was so cocksure that,
Right.
and I looked it up and it's sure enough, he
Sure
was
enough.
part of the act. He'd spin plates.
Who knew?
Yeah. while the puppets were talking, I think is what it was.
Maybe. I don't know. But you know, yeah, I mean it was certainly a fun show to watch. It was a show that I think virtually everybody watched at some point in their life, on or off, you know, the TV. But as far as it working today, I'm not so sure. I think
What does work are the talent shows.
yes.
If you look at the Amateur Hour,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of is the grandfather of what you remember Ed McMahon back in the 80s
Right,
had
Star
Star
Search.
Search, and now we've got America's Got Talent, and your sister's got talent, your
American
uncle's got
Idol.
American Idol, and
Yeah.
all of these copycat shows. But I think a lot of that started going way back with the Amateur Hour.
I think so. And wasn't there also one on radio way before that?
Yes,
Something-
Major Bose.
Okay. Yeah.
Major Bose. And then when it went to television, I think Major Bose even did it on TV for a while. And then
I just remember
I
Ted
think he
Mack,
died
yeah.
or something, and Ted Mack took it over because Ted Mack used to open the show the same way that Major Bose did, spinning the wheel of fortune.
Yeah.
Round and around and around she goes. Where she stops, no one knows.
And the difference though between like the Amateur Hour and the things today is the Amateur Hour, they were not competing for a prize. I
And
don't
nobody
recall.
became a superstar,
And nobody
I don't
became
think.
no, I don't think so. Well,
Maybe Teresa Brewer.
I was
Was
gonna
little
say-
Teresa Brewer on the Amateur Hour?
and I'm not sure. Wasn't Leslie Uggams? Didn't she get her start on the Amateur Hour too?
I don't know.
I
Where's
think-
Joe Caroselli? Joe Caroselli
He'll let us know.
is our super fan, and he's the expert on all of this stuff.
But I think I think there were some isolated hit people that became stars out of it. But I don't think it was like the launching of too many careers.
Do you remember Star Search with Ed McMahon and Sam Harris?
Yes,
Was one of the big.
Yes.
Whatever happened to Sam Harris? After Star Search, I think he probably did Vegas or something.
Yeah, I
and-
think so. And then, it
But
kind of-
he didn't really turn into a big star.
and I would have thought he would have because he outlasted everybody on there for so long.
Yeah.
And his style of singing with the like the exaggerated motions and things like that has become the norm now.
Prolonged high notes and
And has become the norm now.
Yeah.
And trying to put trills in and do things with your voice that
he would do
just
the
to-
key change up to a higher key,
Just-
and the
just-
audience would go
right,
crazy.
and just to impress everybody with what your range was and what you could do. On him it worked, but now it's become like the norm, and it's kind of like I wish somebody would just sing the song straight,
Yeah.
without all that histrionics in the voice. But that's me.
After Ed Sullivan, at 9 o'clock, the TV dial in the Torriello house went to Channel 4 for Bonanza.
Okay.
And my mother used to, remember Hoss,
Yeah.
played by Dan Blocker? I think my mother used to call him Horse. She thought his nickname was Horse. And of course, my mother and her best Brooklynese, Horse. Horse. I like that horse. He's funny. And then later in the evening, I'm pretty sure it was What's My Line? With, who was the host of What's My Line?
Oh gosh, I can't.
John Daly.
Okay.
John Charles Patrick Daly, because Bennett Cerf would introduce him always. And he would tell some amusing little anecdote and then say, now here he is, John Charles Patrick Daly. And when What's My Line went off, that's when I had to go to bed. But it was fairly late in the evening.
Say you had a late bedtime.
Yeah, I did.
We didn't. And we were always at my grandmother's on Sunday afternoon and early evening. We would eat dinner. We would watch Ted Mack's Amateur Hour while the grown-ups were tidying up and all. And then we would leave. And we only lived like maybe less than 10 minutes away in the car ride. And so we would, rush home and we would watch. I think we went to Walt Disney at that point. I really don't think it was back to back with Ed Sullivan, and then I remember Ed Sullivan was a little bit later, and then after Ed Sullivan, we went to bed.
I remember Saturday night. Saturday night, we would always go to my relative's house, to my aunt and uncle's house. And Saturday night was Chiller Theater on Channel 11. And Chiller Theater, you can find this on the internet. The opening for Chiller Theater, I thought, was one of the scariest montages ever, where they took clips from all of these B-rated horror movies. It starts with, well, you would call her Vampira. That was the name of the character she played on TV, the original Vampira, back in the 50s or 60s. And it starts with her in a scene from the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. And they edit in several different movies. The Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, there's a clip in there from it. And they had this frightening music, which they took out of a production library. The music is called Horror Upon Horror. And they put together this opening montage. And every Saturday night at 7:30, Chiller would come on, or Chili, as my uncle used to. It's time for Chili. That montage would come on, scare the hell out of me. But I loved it.
But you loved
it was the kind of thing that you love to be scared, you know?
Well, maybe you did.
And so Chiller Theater, and then they would watch Joe Pine. Joe Pine was on Channel 5, and Joe Pine had a TV talk show, and he was one of these in-your-face, big burly guy, and he would get into fights with the guests, and he would tell people, go take a walk, and you'd get thrown off the show, you know, and the audience would cheer and applaud.
It's kind of like the beginning of Jerry Springer and Maury Povich.
Yeah. And then that show was followed by another guy, Alan Burke.
Who we saw on our honeymoon.
We saw on our honeymoon. Alan Burke was doing a TV show down in Miami when we were married in 1976. And we actually went down for 2 tapings of the Alan Burke show. And he gave you a rose.
Yes, he did.
From the bud vase on his set.
Right.
And again, Alan Burke was very nasty, very confrontational on the show. Off camera,
sweetest guy,
very nice guy,
very polite,
very
cultured. You know, not the rough and tough, nasty guy. You know,
and he would even tell some of the guests, "I'm going to do that. I'm going to say this to you. I'm going to throw you out. Don't
take it personally.
Don't take it personally. It's the show."
Right.
And so we were treated to like 2 tapings of the Alan Burke show, and that would be Saturday night.
Yeah, like like I said, we really didn't get together to watch TV.
Yeah.
And when I was, I would say maybe 10 years old or so, my parents got my sister and I a little black and white TV for our bedroom, and we thought it was like hot stuff. We never thought we'd ever have that. And once that happened, Patty and I would go up and watch what we felt like watching. And we didn't watch what everybody else was watching necessarily. And the only things I can remember, like, I remember more my father watching different things. He loved the Honeymooners.
As do I.
As I don't.
Well, your contention is that Jackie Gleason was an abusive husband.
I don't think he's funny. I think he's loud and abusive. And, Now,
look, let's not start canceling Ralph Cramden, okay? That'll be the next thing that you hear. They have canceled Ralph Cramden. All of the reruns of The Honeymooners are being taken off the airwaves because feminist groups find Ralph Cramden abusive. Don't even start.
Well, it would make room for some good shows.
Don't even start. That was a good show. Are you kidding me?
Not loving it. The
Honeymooners.
The one that I did like that my father liked was Red Skelton.
I appreciated Red Skelton's talent, but I never got into the show.
I used to like that with all the different vignettes and the characters that he played.
He used to do the hobo.
The hobo. He did talk about the 2 Gertrude and Heathcliff, the 2 seagulls.
The 2 talking seagulls.
I don't remember. He had like a whole bunch of characters.
I remember the hobo character that he played would break your heart.
Yeah. So I enjoyed. That was something that my father watched that we would watch.
I saw it once in a while, but it wasn't like every week.
I was going to say, it wasn't every week with us either. But like if he was watching it, he'd be like, "Oh, come here, look at this one," and we'd watch it. I don't know. A little bit later, I can remember watching Laugh-In on Monday nights.
Laugh-In was very helpful to me because when Laugh-In first came on, that was right around the time that my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and the prognosis was not
Was not good.
good. And that show really helped me get through a lot of the stress of dealing with that as I guess at the time I was maybe 14, 15. And so for me, Laugh-In will always hold a special place in my heart. But I've seen it now in reruns.
Right.
And looking back at it, I'm like, what was funny about this? You know, it kind of, some shows you can watch and the shows are 40 years old.
Right. And,
They're
still,
still funny, like The Honeymooners. And then there's other shows that they were funny then, but time kind of moved on.
Yeah. Now, one like that I used to religiously watch and I loved was The Monkees. And when one of the channels was playing the reruns, I was like, oh, I watched it and I was like, no.
This is really stupid.
Yeah. And I realized that an awful lot of it were like actually kind of revamping the Marx Brothers, a lot of what they did.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't really a big fan of the Marx Brothers. Why did I like the Monkees so much? Maybe because Davy Jones was just cute.
Did you hear what she just said? She wasn't a fan of the Marx Brothers.
Oh, that was kind of before my time.
It was before my time too, but why do I love them?
Because you like that old shit.
Yes. The church lady said shit. Yeah, that's sacrilege. Not like, I'll bet you didn't like the Three Stooges either. Here it comes.
No way.
There you go.
I would take the Marx Brothers over the Three Stooges.
I think the Stooges is a guy thing. I don't know too many women who dig the Stooges. Guys love the Stooges.
Guys love it. And I mean, and I had an extra reason why I didn't like them because my nickname is Mo.
Yeah.
And the kids used to taunt me and bedevil me. Hey, Mo, where's Larry and Curly? You know, I was like, for years I didn't let anybody call me Mo.
Yeah.
Now I do because now I find it endearing, and I like if I like you and you know me well, you can call me Mo, and that's like
when she lets you call her Mo, you are in the circle of trust.
So yeah, so I mean that was another one.
I Dream of Jeannie.
I saw it.
Was popular, especially with my dad. And this was the second time that I Dream of Jeannie, because I didn't watch it as a kid. Mm-hmm. As a teen, I watched it with my dad, because again, this was a very stressful time for my dad and I, and we would watch I Dream of Jeannie, and my father would laugh and laugh out loud.
Yeah,
especially when like Dr. Bellows would be all confused and and my father would laugh out loud, and I kind of liked Barbara Eden too.
Well, who didn't?
What guy didn't? She was stunning.
But yeah, I mean, like stuff like that. Again, I remember watching. I don't remember watching it as a family necessarily, but I did. Dream of Jeannie. Bewitched was another one that we watched.
I wasn't big on Bewitched.
Well, how did we wind up together?
How about the Addams Family?
Yeah, we watched that, and the Munsters.
See, the way I see this in Pete world is either you love the Addams Family or you love the Munsters.
You can't like both?
Not in my book, you can't. Maybe there are people who do, but I thought the Addams Family was so superior.
It was. It definitely was.
And again, who wasn't in love with Morticia?
Well,
Carolyn Jones was so beautiful.
She didn't do much for me.
Yeah, she was just stunning beauty. It's a shame they didn't shoot that in color, because she had beautiful aquamarine eyes.
And green skin.
If the kids were messing with the television, yeah.
No, I mean,
no.
Well, she had
She had very pale skin
in the
Addams
show.
Family. Yeah, but she had gorgeous eyes.
But the Munsters, they had, Herman had green skin. That's how
yeah.
recall.
They shot that in black and white too.
Right, but like I saw pictures of it colorized pictures and stuff that they did. And he was green.
Because like among guys, it would be Morticia or Lily. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, Morticia,
Tisha,
hands
yeah.
down. Or Jeannie or Samantha from Bewitched.
Yeah.
And
Jeannie.
Jeannie, hands down. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Oh, that I could get. But I can't really think of too many other things that were like.
Gunsmoke, you said.
Well, I would watch that if my grandmother was babysitting us.
Yeah.
We would watch Gunsmoke up there, and I enjoyed watching it with her. I would never watch it at home.
How about Bat Masterson?
But again, that was another one that she would watch. Like she liked the westerns for some reason, and we would watch it. But we didn't watch Bonanza.
I liked Bat Masterson. I liked Gene Barry. He was very dapper with the cane and everything.
Cane, yeah.
And they used to watch that a lot in my house. That Have Gun Will Travel.
I don't know if I saw that or not.
Will Paladin.
I mean, the title rings a bell, but I don't really remember much about the show.
Yeah, they used to. My folks used to like the westerns. I think my dad especially. I remember Cheyenne was one of the westerns. Sugarfoot.
No. I remember another thing that I remember, like if I was home from school or sick or whatever, the morning shows that they used to have, Love That Bob.
And those, I think, might even have been
They were reruns.
old when we were kids.
Yeah, My Little Margie.
I loved My Little Margie.
Amos and Andy.
That was Gail Storm. Was
Gail
My
Storm,
Little Margie, and what was his name? Henry Farrell was
I don't know.
her. I think she lived with her uncle or something.
I don't know. But
He played Vern Albright.
right. But there was like a cluster of those old shows that were being rerun early, like in the morning.
Yeah, I remember
And
Love
if
That
we were-
Bob with Ann B. Davis.
Yes.
Was his secretary or something? Schultze.
Schultze, yeah. So we would watch those, but again, that was not something that we watched every week. It was, if we were home from school, maybe we would get to watch them because they were on, during the time you would ordinarily be in school.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole separate show on like the kid shows that we grew up with because there was a ton of those.
Yeah, but let's leave that.
We'll
for
do
another
that
time.
for a future show. And it's time now for our Sonic Boomers trivia question. And I'm ready to go. Are you set there, kid?
Sure.
Okay, hit me.
Hit you? Gladly. Okay. Let's see. This one I think you'll know.
Okay.
What Walter Cronkite hosted series reenacted historical events as if they were being televised today?
I know this.
I figured you would.
I know this.
I knew it, so I figured you would.
If I get this wrong, I will stand on my head and spit nickels.
Oh, please get it wrong. Please get it wrong.
You are there.
Yes.
All things are as they were, except you are there. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, you may get this. You may get this. What rock group's oldest member was Bill Wyman? What rock group's oldest member was Bill Wyman? Your time begins now. I love saying that. I feel like I'm a game show host.
I don't know. I'm not good with names. Rolling Stones?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the Rolling Stones.
He was older than Mick Jagger?
Yeah, I think there's dirt that's older than Mick Jagger. I'm not sure. Yeah, it was Bill Wyman.
Okay. I'm very bad with like individual members of groups' names
Yeah,
unless
you're
they
better with the song titles.
the song titles, yeah. But if I didn't pay, first of all, I didn't really pay that much attention to the groups and even less attention to each individual, unless there was one that really stood out.
Yeah, like Peter Noon from Herman's Hermits.
Yes. Good old Herman.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Sonic Boomers podcast. We invite you to write to us at sonicboomers@protonmail.com with your comments and suggestions for future shows. So join us again next time. Until then, I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Now go and make some noise.